Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a bit of an Easter special on Blursed flavors. Partially because it's Easter, partially out of necessity. I went to the store to grab some ingredients for the popsicle one that we were going to do today, and unfortunately they were not so great at the convenience store that I do all my shopping currently. So when I go to an actual grocery store, I'll grab those ingredients and that'll be the next episode. But for this episode, we're going to do an Easter special. Now, many of you probably know in Christianity that Jesus' body was the bread and Jesus' blood was wine. Now, I'm feeling pretty lonely in quarantine right now, so I figured I'd make myself a Jesus friend. And since humans are not just body and not just blood, they're a combination of both, I figure, why not do exactly that? Now, I don't have wine, but I do have non-spicy wine, grape juice, and I have flour. So today I thought, why don't we try to make some Jesus bread? Some grape bread, if you will. Let's get into it. And for those of you that are saying, oh, this episode is just the pineapple pizza one again, he's just replacing the water in the bread with something else. Well, you are exactly correct. I'm super uncreative, and that's why I rely entirely on your comments to get by, so please leave those right now. And for those of you who didn't notice that this was basically the same thing as the pineapple pizza episode, and now that I've said something, you're now thinking, oh yeah. You're going to want to add 8 milliliters of yeast, and add about 10 milliliters of sugar. Hey guys, watch me learn my lesson before I add any more sugar than you just saw me add, because I was going to add another about 3 tablespoons of sugar, but watch me learn my lesson from the pineapple episode. Grape juice has a bunch of sugar in it, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'll just add a little bit more flour so that we have about the same ratio of solids to liquids. Alright, back to it. Now we're going to add about 2.5 cups of grape juice. Feel free to substitute in your favorite wine for this instead. It might work, I don't know. Give it a nice stir. Then you want to add about 1 tablespoon of salt. And just get this stirred up very nicely. Hey, so I said some wrong numbers when we were making this abomination down here. And I just wanted to say that when I say a wrong number, I will have some indication on the screen that that number is wrong, and I'll have the correct number beside it. If I were to say something like, I have 400 friends. Look at that! Whoa, isn't that cool, the magic of editing? Next, you're going to add 4 cups of flour in total. So I would recommend adding about 3 cups, getting it all kneaded together, and then adding another cup as you need it. That'll prevent just going overboard with the flour. Next, you're just going to want to lightly oil both sides of this. You can cover it and just let it rise for 2 hours. Alright, once that's done, you just want to preheat the oven. Yeah, okay, it looks like just bread with like purple highlights. Hello, welcome to Easter dinner. Today, we made Jesus bread. That is, bread and grape juice. My whole apartment right now smells like grape, which is like kinda nice, but the fact that I know it's coming from this is a little bit unnerving. I want to make a bit of a prediction. I think this is actually going to be pretty okay. I think it's just going to taste like bread, a little bit more sweet. We already have bread that's more sweet. We have cake, we have pastries, we have whatever. So I don't think this is going to be anything too crazy. It's mostly as I predicted. There's one thing I wasn't really anticipating.
But I was expecting not to expect something, so it doesn't count.
So it just kind of tastes like bread, but with grape, obviously. So it's a bit sweeter. If you've ever made bread, homemade, you know it has like that little bit of extra flavor that the store-bought bread just doesn't have. I don't know what to call it. It's just something about it that tastes so much nicer, especially when it's fresh. The grape flavor completely masks that flavor, I suppose, so that yeah, I don't get that really tasted all that nice kind of homemade feel. Instead, it's sort of replaced with like an artificial kind of grape taste. Even though I think that was like real grape juice, this sort of almost just tastes like grape candy or grape tang or something of the like, that artificial grape flavor, rather than homemade bread. I'll be interested to see how this comes in the coming days as I go through it. If as it maybe cools down, as it ages a couple of days, if it will still kind of taste like that, or if it'll get better, it'll get worse, I don't know. Typically, obviously the best time to eat bread is like right out of the oven, so I don't expect this to get better, but I mean, it's edible. So if we take it to our new Blursed meter, I would probably give this an 8 on the Blursed meter. I think it's very similar to the pineapple pizza episode we did, because in more ways than one, not just that it's literally just the thing but with a fruit juice instead of water. It's also similar in quality. This is very obviously worse than the regular bread that I make.
We're blessed, but okay, bro.
But it's not so much worse that it's inedible. Like, I will still finish eating this, and I won't hate doing so. Just sort of like the pineapple pizza dough that I made. I'll be interested to see how this tastes with something like peanut butter on it, because, you know, it's sort of the peanut butter and jam combination, but where the jam is like almost baked into the bread. Let's get like a close-up on the color there. You can tell it's not showing up quite as purple as it is on the camera, but it is very mauve. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Blursed Flavors, which I might rename to Blursed Recipes, so there's no ambiguity from flavors with the U and flavors with an O. This episode is actually brought to you by me. This was my idea. The next episode, which we've already decided will be the popsicle episode, was not my idea. That was somebody else's idea. So if you want your idea to be made into this, let me know what it is, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a happy Easter, and